Okay. Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Unionville Town Board meeting of March 20th, 2024. I salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. I'm sorry. Okay. We're on hold for a moment. Okay. All right. So I'd like to offer an amendment to the agenda here. I neglected to include the animal control report. So I'd like to add that as number 12. Second.
Second. Too much audio.
Okay. I had a motion, and did somebody second? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, thank you. We're gonna ask that the minutes be tabled for tonight. They're not quite ready yet. Motion to table the minutes,
So moved.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, I have the monthly financial report here. In our general checking account, we have $2,676,77.1 dollars. In the general savings, 4,814. Miscellaneous receipts is 353,400. General, I'm not sure what the MM stands for, but it's 99,340. In our New York class investment account, we have 2,541,729. And in the ARP money, that was the COVID money, we have 506,396 for a total of 6,182,450. And highway checking is 871,677. Highway savings is 102,059. Highway MM again is 36,655. And highway investment account is 68,199. And the reserve account is 143,994 for a total of 1,222,583. Grand total of 7,405,033 and 21 cents. The only other thing I have is the annual roadside cleanup is approaching. That's in conjunction with the new Unionville Fire Department. We meet at the Burbank Firehouse on Clove Road, just north of the former circle. And that will be on April 21st. We'll be meeting at 9:30 a.m. and provide you with bags and a road assignment. And like I said, it'd be a joint effort between the town residents, ourselves, and the Unionville Volunteer Fire Department. Board member reports, Councilman Welsh.
All right, in light of our meeting earlier this month, I've gone around, looked at all of our roofs that were at risk. And I didn't use a ladder, but I did what I could from the ground. And granted, Tom Moore Park, that roof over the senior center is desperately in need of replacement. But I don't know if all the other roofs need to be immediately replaced. I think we might have some opportunities to maybe repair some on a temporary basis and spread out the cost over a period of time.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Councilman Carlemi?
I just want to bring up that we received a letter from the Dutchess County Gaelic Athletic Association thanking us for the time that we spent on trying to get them a field here at Timewar Park, but they have chosen to go to another place, the town of Beekman, to put their field in. One of the other things that they said here is that, they're growing rapidly, so they needed something done quickly. So they had to divert over to the town of Beekman to have them put a full-size field in. It seems like they're going to be moving everything over there except for renting the indoor facilities for the Irish Dancing Company to host the classes. So that should still be here and be something that should be done in Timewar Park. I did speak to Kieran Mitchell, the chairman of the association, today. One of the things that he did bring up is he is still interested in having the Gaelic Festival here, but he's waiting on a rental agreement that he hasn't received back from the town. So that's just something that if we could get out to them as soon as possible, they would really appreciate it. The only concern I have in regarding this is I just want to know how it could potentially affect our budget, the recreation department, without having rental of the fields for the Gaelic Association. So I hope that's something that we could discuss in the future. That's it.
Councilman Darling?
Yeah, also in light of last meeting, I've spoken to a bunch of residents about the library and the issues that were presented that night and, just kind of what happened. So still an ongoing discussion. Also dealing with an issue over on the other side of town on Cole Road, trying to help George from code enforcement to try to work through that with some of the residents. And then I also did take a look at some of the roofs as well. I think just we gotta really all go out there together and really come up with a game plan, get Tom Harvey out there and really figure out what we're gonna do. It's a lot of roofs. But I do agree that we have to do the senior center. ASAP.
Councilman McGivney?
Just like to remind the residents, Saturday, March 30th, Parks and Rec will be hosting their annual Easter egg hunt. Festivities start at 10:30. It's a great event to go to. I know when my son was younger, we attended every year, had a great time. Also like to wish one of our town hall employees, Laura Sumner, a happy birthday. That's all I have.
Okay. On the roofs that we discussed, I did meet with Tom Harvey and Tord and looked at all of them, and he did basically agree with me that they are all beyond their expected life expectancy. Our parks manager here also has a report that he'll be given tonight on that. Tom Harvey was gonna prepare a report for us, but, didn't arrive here in time to bring to the meeting. So that,
So Tom thinks they all need immediate repair.
yeah, they're all leaking. They're all leaking and they really aren't in a condition that can be patched. You start patching, you're gonna cause more damage. The shingles are all, the ones that have asphalt shingles are brittle to the point that you try to tuck something underneath them, they're gonna break and cause,
How about the mower shed? That's an aluminum,
I'm sorry,
mower shed, that's an aluminum, metal roof.
which building?
Mower shed.
Mower shed. Okay, I couldn't hear that. It's leaking. I mean, you can see daylight through the roof, but if we put it off a year, I guess, it's something we're gonna have to deal with. Oh,
So I had a discussion with Tom Harvey in regards to him going around the buildings as well, which, I mean, I would have appreciated if were aware of that, so we would have been able to attend. Tom Harvey said that obviously, as we all agree, the senior center roof needs to be replaced. That's not disputed. He said that he was gonna work on a report, like you said, giving each building a number and where the roofs are. He told me that he doesn't agree that every single roof needs to replace. There can be patching done on multiple roofs. That's the conversation I had with Tom, and that he would give us a report so that we could all look at it.
well,
together.
I guess we'll have to wait for that report to come. It's
Yeah.
a different conversation than I had.
Okay.
Town clerk. All righty. Tax collector?
Yeah.
Happy spring. The 29th, we were at 81% in. As of today, we're 87% in, 156 bills to go. We are 1.3 million. I brought to the county on Friday. They were very happy. I got to see Sue Serino, and she said to say hello. March 31st. 2%. If it's not hand stamped again by the post office, I have to charge you April 1st fee of 3% penalty. That's it. Right now, we had 2 visitors on Saturdays for the past month, just to let you all know, just because I know it was a question back a few weeks ago. Thank you, Kevin McGivney, for helping me stuff escrow. That was 600 and something bills, and Andrea helped me on that one. Also, happy birthday, Laura Summers. Lucky to have her, and hopefully baby Zach gets here soon. So I'm like, get back soon. Have a good night, all.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Yeah. Ed, highway super.
Been cleaning ditches, doing some tree removals. We got all the trucks that are designated for nothing more than sand and salt and, snow removal have been put away, hopefully. We'll have to pull them back out.
When it snows, we'll blame you.
Please do. We're preparing for our 2024 paving. which I believe everybody in the board has got a copy of our plan for this year. We did have to adjust it a little bit. Um, as I mentioned early on, that, we would probably have to adjust it just because of road conditions winter that we had with the freeze and thaw cycles. And we will not be doing any oil and chip this year. There just isn't the money to do both. So we're gonna address what we really need to address. We took delivery of our new excavator. Thank the board for letting us get that. You guys appreciate it. Let's see, with the burn ban until May 15th, if we could restrict the amount of brush being brought to the highway garage, that would be greatly appreciated before we have a mountain over there. Lastly, to kind of touch on the roof subject, roof at the highway shop does leaks over the break. So just put that out there for everybody. That's pretty much all we have.
All righty, thank you. Recreation Department.
Right, so this past weekend, we hosted volunteer hours up here at Town Hall on Friday and Saturday for students and parents, adults to come help stuff thousands of eggs for our Egg Hunts for All event. I want to thank everybody who came, who helped out. It really was amazing that it was all done within 2 days. So yeah, just a thank you for prepping for that event. Spots for that event are filling up really quickly. Registration is required for this free event, and the details on the 4 different accessible hunts can be found on our Parks and Rec website. Next week, we'll be running our full day TGTT spring break program for the local school district's time off. This will run weekdays from March 25th to April 1st from 8 to 6. We'll enjoy themed crafts. We'll go outside, hopefully, if the weather is good, and fun with friends. So seating is limited for those days. And again, registration can be found on our Parks and Rec website. And then while all of our other summer camp programs are full, we do have very few seats left open for our teen program, our TLC program. And again, more information can be found on the website and registration. So referring to the packet that I sent last night, and if you didn't get a chance to see it, I'll kind of explain what's in the packet as I go. So this is referring to the fact that minimum wage has gone up this year. It's now at $15. We've been going through our returning staff interviews, both through my summer camp staff and our aquatic staff, and we've had multiple people ask if the town is going to acknowledge that minimum wage has gone up and reflect that in their pay. A lot of them do say that it is hard to have a job right now where that's not the case. And we have a lot of good people that we definitely want to come back and work with us year after year. So we had a similar thing come up last year. The town board on March 15th of last year discussed this and voted to amend the 2023 salary schedule, which is at the top of your packet. So I never received a new amended salary sheet. That's why I just kind of wrote my notes on it. Anything that is in green is what was discussed and voted in, and anything in red is what I would like to amend this year. So some of the changes are pay rates as well as different titles. There's a lot of different functional titles that we use based on certain responsibilities that people have, as well as some people have extra prep time before camp starts. They have specific trainings. Aquatics has a lot more trainings than my summer camp staff has, and that's required by the Department of Health. So the two titles that I'd like to add to this sheet, one of them is something that we came up with last year with the supervisor's head guard. The head guard assists with supervision over the weekends with the assistant aquatics director. So to reflect that they would be supervising the other lifeguards, we did give them a bit higher of compensation for that. And then the director and food service helper refers to Lori Smalley. She's been running the concession stand for 11 years. She has 17 years worth of experience in industrial kitchens in the school system. She works in Arlington. She will need a new helper this year. The helper that we've had the past couple of years has moved on. And she wants to hire someone who has experience with industrial equipment. So she's requesting a bit of a higher pay rate for that person. That's kind of what's expected when you work with fryers, ovens, things you don't normally work with. And then the higher end of that rate reflects Lori as the director. It reflects her experience, her dedication to returning each season for over a decade, as well as her exceptional work with consistently staying under budget, even when things are a little tough to get, they might be more expensive. And then the next thing in the packet is just the 2024 salary schedule. I just added those changes so that it is reflected on that as well. Could make it a bit easier to look at than all of the scribbles on the first one. Next in the packet is a breakdown of the hours for our camp staff. And it has all of our positions, my assistant camp director, our rec leaders, and then our different kinds of counselors. This is a condensed sheet. The actual one is really, really long, but it shows all of their hours weekly on the side, and the estimated pay for those weeks. And those hours include their prep time. Some have more than others, like the athletics director might have to come up with a syllabus or make a supply list prior to camp for us to order. And this also includes when counselors have their pre and post care shifts. So all of that time is accounted for. I just wanted to point out for the substitute counselors, the only thing in here that's added is their training time. It's the same thing for aquatics because when they're here, we're not overstaffed. They're taking over for another person. So it wouldn't be like we were paying a whole nother person. There'll still always be 13 traditional and 3 kids camp counselors. And like I said, it's the same thing with aquatics. And these different rates reflect their level of responsibility. My assistant is with me handling phone calls, emails, parents. The rec leaders have different stuff that they do. And I do on the next sheet have a breakdown of what they do throughout the day, just to kind of show that difference in responsibility and leadership. At the bottom of that first spreadsheet, it has the calculations and as well as the difference between what we're requesting and what is in the budget currently. The next spreadsheet is the same thing, but for aquatics, again, it's condensed down. We do have a mock schedule to calculate all of their hours. Their schedule is a bit more complex because they don't just have 8 weeks of camp the way our counselors do. They have the weekends before camp when the pool is open. We have local schools come and do field trips for like their 5th grade graduation ceremonies. They have the camp weeks and then they have the post-camp hours. And each of those are labeled in those boxes. And again, there's a calculation for their prep time, substitutes, and then it shows the difference in what it would be for bringing them up to what minimum wage is right now. The aquatics director and I have looked into what other pools and lakes and camps are paying their aquatic staff. It's pretty comparable to what everybody else is doing, and it is a bit higher because they do pay out of pocket for their certifications. They need at least 2 to be a lifeguard and then more to be a swim instructor and then more as you keep going in the hierarchy. So it is to acknowledge that they pay for these certifications. So basically, I feel that if we move forward the way that we did last season when this was voted on, amend the salary sheet, and then after the season is over, look and see how much we ended up spending and amend the budget. It's not totally set in stone just because if we have like another wet summer this year, we had to close the pool a lot, whether it be for the smog that happened where we couldn't let kids outside. If it's raining and they can't see the drain, they have to close the pool. So there might be some variation. It's hard to say exactly. And then some ideas for us to recoup this cost for the counselors, we're going to look into bringing in more kids where our ratio allows. We are mandated by the Department of Health to have a ratio of 12-1 counselor to camper. So if there are groups where we haven't reached that, we can bring some people in, make some money that way. And then we're hoping that the pool passes will also help with that. So, are there any questions on?
Yeah, when would you need an answer on this?
Ideally as soon as possible. I do want to get these packets out so that these kids know that they have a job. I would hate to risk them, you know, us taking too long and then they find something else.
If, can we have the 2 weeks between now and the next meeting to digest
Yeah,
this and
yeah.
come back to you with?
Yeah.
That, I think that'd probably be the best way to handle this.
Sounds good. to me.
Okay.
Yeah, my question is, it looks like it's a total of about a little bit over $25,000 difference between the budget lines and what the increase is.
Mhm.
Okay, I just want to confirm that that's.
Yeah.
Could I ask one other question?
Yeah.
Are you still planning to close the pool at 6 o'clock in the summer evenings?
As of right now, yes, because we haven't made any plans.
Yeah,
to
I did
change
some
that.
research on that, and I spoke with Jake too as well. We've had a 6 PM closing time since before, I think, 2017.
Yeah, that's before I started. Yeah.
And the reason for that was there was no one coming in that second hour.
Uh-huh.
And we are required to have a minimum of 5 lifeguards on duty when the pool is open.
Yeah,
So we had 5 lifeguards sitting around with nobody in the pool, and we actually got complaints from residents that we were paying people to be here when there was nothing for them to do.
okay,
So that's the reason that they
all right.
went to the
Because I
6
did
PM.
get people
Yeah.
asking me, I was just curious.
Well, I know we got that one email about it, but that was the only
Only
contact I've
request,
had,
okay.
yeah.
And then if you could, you said there's some programs that aren't at the ratio of 12-1.
Mhm.
Do you think you could get us the information of how many that is and potentially the increase in revenue that could be generated?
Yeah, I mean, just doing a calculation myself, I would like to recoup the counselor salary, I would like to try to add, I think it was 6 more kids per session. So I have the groups, I could pull it up and show you how I make the groups and where those numbers are. So, you know, if you have a group of 5th graders that has 5 kids in it, then you could add a couple more. We do have to keep in mind that the teens are considered campers, so they are also a part of that ratio. So really, you would have 11 little kids and then 1 teen, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, it would be like
Roughly
that.
6, you said? you think?
Yes, per session, so.
Okay.
And that's at a calculation, if they were all residents, I went by the resident rate to make sure that,
Would you anticipate much difficulty in filling those?
I don't think so. We have a really extensive waiting list. People
Okay.
are still calling every day.
So that's right, you're sold out at this point, aren't you?
Yes, traditional and kids camp is completely sold out. We've been sold out
Yeah.
for weeks. Thank you. So thanks to my staff. But again, it is, I can't just add 6 more kids. I have to look at what we have right now. So it's a little tricky like that, but I don't foresee us having too much trouble adding those extra kids per section. And then that number also keeps in mind with the pool, we can only have so many kids in the pool for swim lessons. Also when it's a rainy day and there's thunderstorms, we have to come inside. That still also incorporates how many kids we would have in a room and not overfill any of those rooms. So,
Makes sense, thank you.
All right, thanks to you and all your staff. Great job, you guys always do.
thank you.
Okay, Parks report.
Hello. So we have been working on again the pool filter tank that was purchased last year installed. We've managed to get it into the building after removing the exterior door and took out a wall. And we transport the filter sand over near the building as well. So we're just going to move it into its final resting place, replumb it, fill it with sand, turn it on. We've been doing trail work because we've had some pretty severe weather recently that's knocked down a few trees in the woods. And we've had a few people tell us about those, so most of them are taken care of, there'll be no. We also had some flood trails out at the bottom of the gorge as we've been building some temporary footbridges, so the trails are still usable. And we've been doing a big clearing behind the tennis courts down at the park, just all the brush that's been built up along there, and on the creek side for fishing season. we've been getting the rental house at number 11 Timor Park Road, getting ready for potential tenants. It's mainly just been cleaning the building. It's been empty for a little bit and removing some stuff we had stored in the garage. The playground project at Godfrey Park is moving along. We've managed to get a hold of the installers. They were there this past weekend, installed the cupola that was on back order. And they are going to be coming back to finish adjusting the slides so the water doesn't pool at the bottom. And once the weather warms up a little bit, we'll go out, finish the landscaping to clean up after the construction project. And I also have a presentation on the roofs that I am aware of. Town Hall currently has 2 leaks that I know of, and they're both been there for quite a while. The one above the supervisor's desk I've heard has been roughly 15 years it's been known about. That one has about 3 buckets under it, and the sheetrock in that office has been damaged just when the leak has come different places that haven't been caught or the buckets have overfilled. And the cupola on Town Hall leaks from pretty much every side, and because of the framing in the area and the extensive size of that leak, it can't really catch the water easily. This is the ceiling in the office. This is the sheathing above that leak, and that is the current rain catch setup we have. And these are the areas around the cupola showing water damage of the sheathing. Yeah, no, sorry. Oh, sorry. uh, Water damage beneath the cupola, some wet tape that has been peeled because of that, and the makeshift rain catch to kind of subdue the leak to an extent. Next. At number 2 Timor Park Road, the rental at the top of the hill, there's a leak at the bottom edge of the roof on the side facing Timor Park Road. There's some minor damage to the inside of the sheetrock, and the gutters are in pretty bad condition, and they're unfortunately strapped to the roof because it's got some crown fascia on it. So repairing those with a bad roof, it's difficult. This is the can't get a very big rain catch down that low into the roof, and it's the water that comes out is black. It's gross. At the inside of the roof or the ceiling, and then the other side of this rafter. Next. The band stage, it doesn't leak that we know of, but it's got a lower roof, the ceiling on the inside, so who knows really. There's quite a few missing shingles, and there's damage kind of all over it. And there's on one section, there's a lot of moss and plant growth that has popped up because of not very much sunlight coming on along that edge. And it's damaged shingles. The concession stand around 2010, from what I've heard, part of it was redone with metal. Yeah, it doesn't leak that I've been able to find, and I've crawled up and down that thing. But there are also multiple damaged shingles on that. The asphalt portion of the roof and the valleys are just old, thin, and not in great condition, in my opinion. And doesn't look very nice. The maintenance shop, it has multiple old skylight panels on it that all of them, every single one, have developed multiple holes in, and they leak every time it rains, as well as, so they were replaced probably a decade ago from what I've heard, but they couldn't match the rib pattern exactly. So they used different kinds of sealants, tried multiple times, and most of them still slightly leak around the joint between the different panels. The metal panels have also developed multiple holes throughout the building, and they're covered in dents. I don't know if it's from people with golf balls or what, but that's not nice. And we have one skylight that is leaking over the men's bathroom by the soccer fields. And it has collapsed the inside of the sheetrock in the bathroom. And so we had to make a makeshift chute out of some old plastic tarping to divert it away so that we could repair the bathroom and keep some of the weight off. These are the holes in the metal, or a couple of them. This is the chute that we have set up so that we could repair the bathroom and keep weight off, because it is not the most stable. It's 2x4 framing, and I don't really want to climb up there consistently to empty a bucket of water. And these are just the style of hole they're developing in all the skylights. And the skylights have not only holes, but they've just yellowed over the years, and it's very dark in the workshop anyway. And these are one of the main sources of light, and they're not very good at it anymore. The senior center / interim library, there's a large leak from the cupola that we have half a dozen buckets under to catch, and the floor under it, the subfloor, has been damaged multiple times, and they've had to replace it a few times, and it just keeps getting wet and has to keep being replaced as it starts to get worse. And the ceiling of the senior center below is also not doing well over the years. And there's also in the corner, there's a facade wall that was used as a climbing wall at one point. But there's a leak directly above that wall, so water falls down on both sides. So it's the inside falls down, inside there. We got multiple buckets, and that is plywood above it. That is obviously bad. Next. And this is the cupola, and you can see some damaged wood around it. And these are the buckets and the floor that we've had to replace. The park building art room that is also rented by the Gaelic Association for their Irish dance class. There are multiple spots in there that the paint has started to bubble or brown because of water, and we repainted and taped the entire thing 3 years ago. And those are just popping up again. The park building's large hall. There's multiple leaks throughout there as well. There's one that runs down the wall in the attic between the art room and the large hall. There is one up between the museum and the large hall around the vestibule area. Near the sprinkler room in the large hall, there's a very wide leak that we have multiple buckets under, and that damaged the sheetrock. That one I popped up right before the forum last year. And between the large hall and the kitchen, there's a leak that is pretty bad. Fills pretty quickly when it does rain. This is the kitchen. This is the museum vestibule area. That is the sprinkler. Next. The back recreation areas, in the corner of the counselor break room that some people call the karate room, along the bottom edge of the roof, there's a leak that it's really hard to catch because of the way it is, and they can't fit very much in there. We use that area for camp and TGTT and after school programs. Then in the corner of the equipment closet, there's where we store the sports equipment, outdoor toys, all that stuff. There's a leak that's also very close to the bottom of the roof, and this one runs right along a rafter, so we can't really catch it. It just runs all the way down and drips right into the corner. And we had to cut out a piece of the ceiling because it was getting destroyed and started to develop what appeared to be mold. And so we had a bucket in that room as well and cut out the carpet to catch water. This is the break room. This one fills up almost every time it rains. Sure needs to try and wick it away from the rafter. That is the one for the equipment closet, and I put a patch over the roof on this one. it kind of worked, it stopped it a bit, but it is still leaking bad. And working with those shingles to get that patch under, it was very delicate. They are very brittle, and I would not want to do too much on them, because every time you move one, it feels like it's gonna break in half. Next. This is just approximate map I made of the leaks of the main park building, cupola. This is the climbing wall. These are the art room ones. This is this is another one in the art room, and this is one in between the art room and the large hall, vestibule for the museum, the sprinkler room, kitchen, break room, garage room. Next. And then this one was from the 11th of this month. I came out of the office and there was a shingle on the ground in front of the office. That happens pretty often when there's moderate to heavy winds. We will find broken shingles, and that's it.
Oh, very informative. Thanks for all that detail.
Question, I have one question. When did you do this?
What?
When did you go through all these buildings?
Some of those pictures were old ones that I had,
Okay.
but I started this beginning of last week.
Okay. Did Tom Harvey go with you in any of those?
No, that was
Okay.
me going alone.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Anybody else?
Thank you, Vincent, for that thorough report. I grew up in the trades, done many roofs. Looking at that report, I could say that that damage is from deferred maintenance, things that were put off way too long. It's obviously an ongoing issue. This is not something new, all these leaks.
Mhm.
It's something that the board's really gonna have to concentrate on, because I don't know how much longer you're gonna be able to patch roofs that are in that shape with those sort of leaks, mold potential, rot. I'm ashamed to sit on this board and see our infrastructure in that shape. I really am.
Well, keep in mind, we never got any reports of this until now.
Oh, we've
Things-
known about
things-
this for a long time,
things-
John. They've been talking about point number 8 for
Yeah, number
5,
eight,
6
yeah,
years.
And I went through all the park reports. Only number 8 was ever mentioned as far as a roof issue. You guys ever seen any? Kevin, have you?
Thank you.
But not to this
Well, those
extent.
things have been going on I knew. those
Obviously,
leaks.
but
I
my
didn't know it
concern
was
is,
that bad.
how did we not get informed from our parks people that there was an ongoing issue, that a lot of labor's been spent putting dams inside the roof or patching or repairs where,
They didn't probably have the funds to do the roof, or we weren't ready to do the roof. But
they could have mentioned that there was a problem that needs to be addressed.
well, these things didn't happen overnight. The conditions of these roofs make us look like slumlords. I'm sorry to say.
I
it.
don't think so.
I'm
I
sorry to
think
say
it's
it, but
a lack of communication.
would you want to live in that sort of, or deal with that sort of thing if your house or roof leaking like that?
Of course not.
Wet sheet rock mold?
Of course not. But if I had people paid to do maintenance and. report
What happened
every
in the
month-
past, John, we can't change. Right
I
now,
know
we
that,
have
but I'm
a
just
thing in front of
He's-
us here.
he's embarrassed to sit on this board because of it. I'm saying this
It's-
board was not informed of it.
It's not something that happened overnight. is what
I
I'm
didn't
getting
say
at.
it. I said it's been happening obviously for years, but nothing was ever
Oh,
said.
I'm
except for
told
back
that,
number 8.
I'm told that the damage over my desk in my office has been there for 5 years.
Well, that's not my office. I don't really,
Well,
I'm not familiar with it. I was never upstairs in this building.
And I can see areas of Steve's office where the leak was, you can tell it was patched, primed, paint don't match. And it's leaking in the same spot again. So this is nothing, it's not a new
I
occurrence.
realize it, but nothing was reported.
well, it's being reported now and
know.
we need
I'm
to
glad-
do something with it.
Glad Vinny gave such a detailed report because now we know how big the issue is.
And now we'll get a report from Tom Harvey. We'll go from there and make an educated decision on where we need to go. I think that nobody on this board is saying that that is acceptable. Not one person, I think,
Yeah.
on this board has said that report or anything like that is acceptable whatsoever. But we also have a budget that we have to be conscious of, and we have to make sure that what we repair makes sense. We can't just sit here and spend $1 million on things that might not potentially be what needs to be done. So I
But we
think
also deferred this maintenance for
I agree.
a long period of time to a point where we can't defer it.
I agree. I think it's definitely, and I don't think anybody on this board has said that we're absolutely not gonna look at the roofs or what needs to be done, because as you can see, it's causing a lot more damage other than just the roofs. So once we get in there and actually start doing repairs on the roofs, how many more things are we gonna have to get to? So that's why if there's some roofs that we can potentially repair and fix the ones that are a bigger issue, because they might end up being bigger than just replacing shingles. So that's why we need to come up with a plan that makes sense, because this could be a 4 or 5 year plan of us doing things, because we could get into the roof and there could be so much more damage. So
There's gonna be a lot of.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, I
we can already see it.
Sheeting is gonna be shot. It's gonna be a can of worms.
I agree. I agree. So that's why we need to come up with a plan. That report was amazing to have to start off with. We'll have Tom Harvey's report back, and then we can make an educated decision and set up just like we have the plan of what we go through of the capital projects, we can come up with a roof plan where we can go through and say roof 1, 2, 3, and 4 are immediate. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 will be next year, and we can work that way out. I think that makes the most sense because it also starts to address the maintenance issue, and we now have something and a document that tells us where we're going.
Agreed. We got to do our due diligence on this. And when you look at the capital projects, there's other things that are quote unquote deferred maintenance that we're also going to have to look at. We can't just take a broad stroke and just say, all right, let's do this, because we have this whole list here that is massive.
And those roofs are pretty important. gotta tell you
I
that.
don't disagree that they're not
I think
important.
they moved up
But we
the-
definitely
yeah,
need to do our-
I think they moved up the project this year.
Certainly.
Any other comments?
Thank you again.
No problem. Thanks, Vince.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you,
buddy.
Vince. Okay, Equestrian Center, Loretta Ryan of the Equestrian Center.
Good evening. Thank you, Steve. As Steve mentioned, I'm Loretta Ryan. I'm the Kenmore Equestrian Center Director. I wanted to start by telling everyone, if you haven't personally visited the Equestrian Center, you are missing out. Timeware Park is the only New York State park to have an equestrian center. And at every event, people comment on how beautiful the park is. So thank you to Vinny and team for all that they do up there. The Equestrian Center has been hosting over 30 years of activities that have continued to make it a wonderful place to ride, have events like our annual draft horse pull and our horse show series. We also host organizations that rent the facility. I have 2 renting it in April. And then last year we had our composting toilet installed. So now we have a new wheelchair accessible bathroom along the woodside near the ring. Thanks again to the park group. I'd like to quickly highlight our annual draft horse pull. This has been a long-standing tradition here at our town, thanks to our own town residents, Betty and Rich Albrecht. And last year we held our 28th annual pull, and what a turnout we had. We had the biggest competitive field of horses since hosting it. We had 9 teams in the lightweight, 10 teams in the heavyweight. So we're hoping for this year's to be even bigger and better. It will be held on Saturday, June 1st, starting at 11, and it runs throughout the afternoon. So if you have never been to this event, I strongly encourage you to bring the family to see some real horsepower. This event is only possible through the generosity of our sponsors, which funds the prize money for the competitors. So if anyone is interested in becoming a sponsor, I have sponsorship forms available. And then we also have dates for our English and Western Horse Show series. That starts at 8 a.m. and runs throughout the afternoon. We have Sunday, April 28th, Sunday, June 23rd, and Sunday, September 29th. We've also added a new division at our horse shows, Timeware All-Stars. These classes are tailored for riders of all ages that are enrolled in an equine therapy or assisted program. So it's a great way to get really people that haven't been able to participate in our horse shows to participate. And now that we have the bathroom, wheelchair accessible, it's really ideal. So we're excited about that new division. And all these free family events are posted on the Equestrian Center Facebook page and our website. Obviously, I want to thank our volunteers like Kay that have helped out and supported our events, and John. So please know how appreciative I am for all the support. We can always use a helping hand. So if anyone has any interest, no experience required, let me know. We'd also love to have a ring painting party that Kay's been hinting at. So stay tuned for a future date. And please let me know if you'd like to participate. I look forward to seeing you all at the Equestrian Center events and like to close by expressing my appreciation to the park and the town employees and town board members for their continued support. Any questions?
Do you have a web address or email address you could share with the folks?
Yeah, it's the town website, and then my email's on there, lryan@unionvalenewyork.us.
There you go.
And if anybody wants a sponsorship form, I'll leave them here at the town hall too.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't see anyone from the library.
I have a report that they sent me this afternoon. So it's from Amy Watkins. She says, I apologize, I'm unable to attend the town board meeting this evening. We have music in our schools month performances this evening, and our other trustees have previous obligations. Updates from the library. The library welcomed back Diane Capizzuto at our last meeting. In her role as trustee, she'll be providing updates on fundraising in conjunction with the library fund. Unfortunately, Art Mattiello resigned as a trustee. He's taking some time to focus on his family. We appreciate all the time and dedication he was given to the library and wish him well. Several of the trustees and the board director are scheduled to meet with Maggie and the recreation department next week to discuss the summer camp and the needs for the shared space. The library volunteers have been meeting every Saturday, typically between 12 and 3. We have prepared the first round of donated books for barcoding to enter them into our system. We received a sizable donation from the estate of Jeanette and Paul Wagner. We are entirely grateful for the generous gift to our library. These will be the next books our volunteers will be unpacking, sanitizing, and preparing for barcoding. We applied for and were approved to offer taking book and braille library services. This information will be added to our website, but additional information can be provided by reaching out to our director. The Unionville Library are participating in neighborhood forest tree planting programs. Families have registered to receive free trees. The director has been in contact with those families about a pickup time. Update on Overdrive in Libby. Thank you to their town clerk, Andrea, was exceptionally helpful in trying to locate the 2 checks that were sent to the vendors and were not received. Thankfully, stop payment was placed on those checks and new checks have been issued. Unfortunately, this was delayed Libby being set up since payment was not received. We will email the residents once it is available. Lastly, the trustees were excited to welcome Karen Foley, our PT director. We have processed her application and are waiting for the paperwork from the supervisor to be finalized. The sooner this can be completed, the better for our residents. Karen is a longtime resident of Unionville, whose children also worked at the rec summer camp. She'll be a wonderful addition to our team. Report from the library. Thank you.
Okay, animal control report. Councilman Welsh, you'd like to read that?
Sure. Okay. Animal control report for the month of January. During the month of January, there were no lost dogs. 1 dog found by a Good Samaritan on Route 82 Burbank. It was brought to the HVARS Poughkeepsie. After much collaboration, this dog was reunited with its owners. Please note that the HVARS is not the contracted shelter for the town of Unionville. Any found dog in the town of Unionville are sheltered at Mutt's Mansion, Route 376 in Wappingers Falls. Also received notification from Dr. Denver Keith, MD, that rabies coordination with the Dutchess County Department of Behavioral and Community Health. There is going to be a rabies informational session for all Dutchess County animal control officers. The past few months have seen a number of rabies, positive rabies on animals, so everyone should be cautious in their dealings with wildlife or unknown domestic animals. Respectfully submitted, Mary Jean Calvi, LVT, Animal Control Officer.
Okay, thank you. Public comments on agenda items. Anyone like to speak about agenda item? Okay, seeing none, we'll move forward. That brings us to the capital improvement projects. I printed you what I have on file as being the capital improvement projects. Some of these have already been covered. The pickup has been purchased. Number 3 can come off the list. I believe that the air conditioning, while it still needs to be replaced, I think these roofs are a lot more a pressing matter than the air conditioners at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
The cement bridge, I believe, is the one that we're here in Time Warner Park down over by the pavilion. And while Tom was looking at the roofs, he also, there we go, also looked at that, bridge, and he said there's been further deterioration. He last looked at it about 3 years ago. So that one we feel is a fairly high priority. Garage windows, they still need to be replaced. I do feel that the roof is more important than the windows at this point. The windows that are in the garage are original to the building. They're steel frame, quite a bit of rust, and they're single pane, very inefficient. So at some point, we do need to consider replacing those with double panes. Attendance booth, that has been taken care of at the recycle center. New roof at 8 Timemore, we all know about that. I feel that should be a very high priority. The boom mower, I believe, had purchased one used, so that can come off the list. The same thing with the rake.
Yep.
That's been purchased. I believe the pickup truck was purchased as
Yes.
well. New light pole, that's something we can look at. I don't see that being a real high priority right now with the other things that we have. Same thing with the door openers. I think that should be part of a final plan for that building. New sign in front of town hall. I think that'd be fairly low on the list. We do need one, but that again, there's a lot of other things that are higher priority. Playground at Godfrey, Vinny said that we're very close to having that complete. Just a couple odds and ends that need to be touched up, and that'll be finished. Gutters on the long barn, that was part of the quote that was given. No, long barn is the one down below, correct? All right, yeah, so that wasn't included in the estimate.
It's been done. you said?
It was done
It
last
has
year.
been done, okay. Smaller mower for parks, were you able to get that?
We
You
got
got that. Code enforcement, I don't believe that vehicle's 10 years old yet. It will need to be replaced at some point, but I don't feel that's a priority. It's still running good and in good
Yeah,
condition.
environments.
But it is something we're gonna have to consider going forward, perhaps start putting some reserve money away for that. Update the water system. Any work on that, Vinny? At number 8?
Water pump, water tanks in the basement.
I think they looked at it, but I don't. Oh, no.
Okay,
Right, there was a bunch of tanks or something.
It's old, it's very old, but
Yeah.
it serves the whole complex.
Yeah.
And, it was well done when it was done, but it was done many years ago before we owned it.
I think the issue was there was not enough backup in case, right? It was all linked together. And if
Yeah,
part of
but
it
I
went
think-
down, the
I
whole
think-
thing goes down.
I think they were saying you can isolate the tanks. That's the
Yeah,
conversation.
Maybe it was.
It might be something that we can repair as needed.
Yeah.
okay. Run power to resident pavilion. I'm not familiar with this one.
That's the one across the, street.
Okay,
There's no power there? There used to be. There used to be power there.
There used to be, but it had to be dug up.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that.
how dire is the need for electric there? Okay, so that can go down fairly low on the list.
Yeah.
PVC dividers, I agree that they need to be replaced, but they are not an expensive item. That's something our park staff can do.
Felt like I thought it came back. We got an estimate, didn't we?
I'm
It
sorry?
came Back expensive?
It shouldn't be. I looked at them. I've done these myself where I'm at and I don't see them coming in at that kind of money.
She got- that she
We
got.
can revisit that.
Not high priority.
Metal roof on the back bathroom buildings. We discussed that in his presentation. Changing pavilion area for swimmers and campers. Would that be a new building?
It does not exist now requesting, so it must have been something that was, yeah, I
Yeah,
guess so.
a new building they want.
Well, I think that goes to the wish list.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Paved driveway at number 2. Yeah, it's probably something that's gonna need done, but, again, the roofs on that building, I think, are more important than the driveway at this
Yeah.
point. Roof on maintenance barn, we saw the condition that's in. And part of that, those holes in the plastic appear to be from something that melted the plastic. I don't know, have the fireworks ever been set off in that lower field there next to that building?
no, it's always been.
It's always been across the way.
Always.
I can't figure out how.
It's only plastic.
Yeah, but if you look at it, you can tell that it was something that looks like hot embers came through it, rather than,
As they get older.
Yeah.
They get brittle.
yeah. And it's just kind of odd. Yeah, I just don't want to see that happen again to a new roof. That's why I was trying to figure out what it might have been. Town hall roof, it's in very poor condition. These are 25-year shingles on this building here.
Mhm.
And the building was 1995, so you can do the math. We're beyond the life expectancy of those shingles. The top, less steep portion of it is in the worst condition. And you have to go back to the edge of the parking lot to be able to see that, because of the angle. And you can, once you get back there and look at it, you can tell how, the edges are curled and how brittle they are. They're pretty much shot. Let me see here.
Boathouse.
Okay,
Boathouse.
yeah, boathouse. Oh, that's probably in as bad condition as the
Chimney's
rest of
in
it.
bad shape.
I don't even know that we're gonna have a lake going forward either with the dam being in question.
Yeah, it's a lot of uncertainty.
I think, yeah, that's something we're gonna have to decide with, as part of the plan for the dam.
Yeah,
Number 2, Timor, he showed us the report on that. You can say that the shingles on that building are very brittle. 8 Timor,
Gotta add
want
gutters
to have
to
a
that
new
too, right?
bathroom. Yeah, that's gonna be a major undertaking there. Yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know you're gonna run
yeah,
unless you pump it to the other end,
put a new septic at that end.
yeah.
Number 28, you gotta add gutters to that.
Right, I think that was part of the quote as well. 2930, 8 Timor, remove walls and change the layout of the ASP area.
We had discussed taking out some of the fake wall and open the space up more so we can have more kids in the area. It's a little cramped back there sometimes, especially during summer camp. We use that room for the younger kids to go back there during thunderstorms. So we had discussed just tearing down the wall and trying to open it up more.
Have you looked at that at all, Vincent? Okay. We'll have to
It's
come,
only a temporary wall that was put up.
Yeah.
okay, so they're not load bearing? That's why I wanted to know.
No,
Yeah, okay.
Definitely not.
That's something we'll have to come back to. That may be a low cost thing that we can do. New exterior door at the rear office. again, that's not a high budget item. It's something our Parks Department could do in-house. New floors in the office of 8 Time More. I think that's, would be nice, but, we have some other priorities. I think these, from going forward, these look like they're in the right priority. Right. Right.
The salt shed.
Yeah, that should be
Yeah, that's gotta be up to the top.
near, after the roofs.
And do we know if these 6 large town culverts were done? That's number 1 on here.
No, and I spoke with, Tom Harvey about that, and, he wants to do some further inspection on them before he comments on the urgency with those. They were built, he believes, in the 20s or 30s using,
The train car. one.
yeah, old, railroad
Yeah,
tankers,
tank
but
cars.
if you look at them, they look like they're 1/2 inch plate.
They are.
Uh,
I've been walked through some of them a few
yeah.
years ago.
And what, he wants to do some, exploratory work with the drill
Mhm.
to see, what the integrity of
Yeah.
that steel is at this point.
Usually right at the bottom.
Right.
That's
Right.
where it's plastic now.
But he will give us, further information on that.
So it looks like the cement bridge needs to be moved up, the roofs need to be moved up. The dam is obviously gonna stay at the top too, salt shed. Culverts, we're gonna wait for information back. So that's what it looks like we're probably gonna have to address. The dam.
Do we ever do
roof.
the pool cover? Do we ever do that? No. I know we've been talking about that for years.
Yeah, it's not on here, is it?
Yeah,
No.
Number
no,
40.
number 40.
Oh, it's 40?
My only worry, obviously, with this list, I mean, we know we have a lot of things that are gonna be a top priority, but it's also gonna be a lot of money, so we need to figure that part out.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of money, but we're sitting on quite a bit of money too. So,
Yeah.
if we can get this figured out and start fixing some of these things, they're not gonna get better by themselves.
Yeah, and I know we're waiting for the dam. Right,
I have to get in
More
touch with that
Right.
engineer that was working on that project and find out what the status is, with him going forward.
Yeah, because this quote that's here is from 2021. I can't imagine what the cost of that. That'd probably be a lot more expensive.
No doubt, like everything else.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
So let's, keep that in mind. You saw what we have in front of us with the roofs,
Yeah.
and I will get the report from Tom Harvey on that as well. Okay, appoint the board candidates. We had that vacancy on the Assessment Review Board. We've interviewed 2 candidates, and I again would like to, nominate, Amy, Harrington to the position. Make a motion that, we put Amy Harrington into the position. She came to us very early on and, expressed a high interest in it.
I'll second that nomination.
Okay, so, any discussion?
I prefer the other candidate, but let's see how the vote goes.
We'll put it to a vote then. Roll call, vote please.
Councilman Bartolome?
No.
Councilman Welch?
No.
Supervisor Frazier?
Aye.
Councilman McGivney?
Aye.
Councilman Durland?
No.
Surprise.
Well, I would like to nominate Ed Harvey, our second person we interviewed. Admit he wasn't the first one, but, he's had experience, he's willing to go to the training. And, he's not connected to anybody in the town government, which keeps him less, he can be more objective, I think. But less, concern of residents that they're getting a fair shake.
I'll second the nomination.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Bartolome?
Yes.
Councilman Welch?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
No.
Councilman McGivney.
Aye.
Councilman Derland.
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it. Okay, cell tower enabling resolution. I got an email from the New York State Senate. I have been working with both them and our assemblyman, and they had requested that we update our enabling resolution. This is the same resolution that you all passed, I believe, in December.
Yes,
It's, it's the same resolution. I don't know if we need to read it for its entirety here again. You're all comfortable with just moving on it?
I think it's best if we don't read it, just vote on it, because it's the same thing,
Right,
just to give them a current date.
right. And that's what it is. They wanted to have a resolution from the current board to move forward. So, have a motion to, pass this resolution number 2023-20. I'll read the title to it.
Okay.
Town of Unionville Town Board Resolution number 23-20, authorizing supervisor to execute and file all documents and take all actions reasonably necessary to complete the process for the cell tower at 43 DeForest.
Okay, I would make a motion to propose that, resolution.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Well, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Cardelli.
Yes.
Councilman Welch.
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier.
Yes.
Councilman McGivney.
Aye.
Councilman Derland.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Unanimous. It's a roof money.
Can help.
Yeah.
Okay, the employee handbook, Easter Sunday has come up to be a bit of an issue. Both our recycle center and Parks Department regularly work on Sundays. The way that the recycle center has handled that, they take it as a holiday. But I don't think that the paperwork that we're doing is something that would be, that would pass during in an audit. I think we need to make some sort of a change to the handbook where those that regularly work on Sundays would receive,
Payment.
a holiday, a paid holiday
Sure.
for Easters. Parks Department hasn't been receiving any kind of compensation at all for working Easter Sunday. And I checked with Ed, the Highway Department would get time and a half if they were called in. I put out a question to the supervisors and mayors, and unfortunately haven't had any response to it about how some of these other towns are handling something like this. I don't, the remainder of our employees don't normally work Sundays.
Right,
So
back then.
it would, I think we should word it so that it would only be a holiday to those who are normally scheduled to work that day.
Makes sense. I mean, this is what the second thing I think that's come up with in regards to the employee handbook. Should we?
Right, yeah.
Maybe do a thorough review?
We do, yeah, we need to go through it and look at it pretty closely, but these are things that they're coming up in the payroll department.
Yeah.
Yes, being problems. And,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
gonna have to make some
maybe we should put
amendments.
out like a bulletin to everybody, hey, if you have any questions or concerns about the employee handbook, maybe try to get it to us so we can go into the employee handbook at one point, make all these changes, and
Right.
just get it up to date. Because these are things that are obviously needed.
Right, I can get that out to them.
So,
Do we pass something out to cover this?
I didn't get a chance to look at the calendar. Do we have another meeting between now and Easter?
No.
Because it is gonna be a problem.
It's the 31st of this month.
It is, okay, yeah, so, no,
That's Jeff. You knew that was
How about
coming.
if
I haven't looked at this, but yes, Easter.
why don't we do it just for this upcoming Easter Sunday?
I would do that.
And then after the fact, we'll put a program together so that it's in the handbook.
makes sense.
So
Yeah.
just for this upcoming Easter Sunday, we'll declare that as a holiday for the a paid day, holiday for Recycle Center and Parks Department. And I'll make that as a motion.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? You want to do a roll call, please, Andrea?
Councilman Bartolome,
Yes.
Councilman Welch,
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier.
Yes.
Councilman McGivney,
Aye.
Councilman Derland.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. New business. I know everybody's aware of the property there at, North Clove Road and Route 82, diagonal to the fire department. We also have a piece up on top of Wingdale Mountain, and that's the one I showed you here in the diagram.
Yeah.
It's the one with the, bold border,
Right.
085-082. That was donated to us about 8 years ago, somewhere in that time frame. My experience with vacant properties owned by the town is they are a liability, an unnecessary liability. At my job at Wappingers, I spend about $20,000 a year taking down hazardous trees from vacant properties. So I initially was looking into options of what we could do with this. The fire district has expressed interest in both pieces. The one up on top of the mountain, they had thought they could sometime in the future put a possible satellite station or a training center. And then the piece that is diagonal to Company One, they've spoken with both the Dutchess County Soil and Water and the Dutchess County Highway. And they believe that they could make that piece of property a drainage area for some problems that were on near the Judge Diamond's residence, I guess, gets
Yeah.
flooded through there
Yeah, it's
regularly.
in there.
They could
Yeah.
put in a system that would put that water into that property, and then the fire department would like to put some sort of either natural reservoir or tank as a holding station for, fire suppression water.
Yeah.
Just something, I wanted to introduce it to you guys tonight, give it some thought. We can speak with council too on, if we wanted to transfer this property to the fire district. That would take the liability off of our hands and put it to some good use as well. So we'll come back to this, but I wanted to throw that out, and we can, I'm open to any kind of discussion here as well.
Steve, we had also been talking to the state and the county about changing the way that that road comes out. Where North Clove comes out onto 82, and maybe utilizing a piece of that property to kind of square it up to the road. The county brought us those three different proposals. Basically kind of close off on the green and turn it, square it up a little bit. And I think that they were working on it with maybe the state. It wasn't in this
It's my
year's budget, but
understanding it's
maybe
not a
they're-
very high priority for them, and that's not something that would be ruled out. I imagine that the fire district would be.
Yeah. they-
No, I'm just bringing it up.
working
do.
with it, Yeah,
That's something else that was going on that piece of property.
And I also know, I guess at one point the CAC was, and I guess currently is wanting to do something with a community garden on the property across from the fire district too. So I mean, again, that doesn't preclude that from happening with doing things for the fire department, but that was something that was brought up by the CAC, and I think they are going to actively try to do something there. Because I think they have something coming that they might be presenting to the town board shortly about that.
Well, it's 9 acres. I mean, it's a lot of property. It's not like,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, give that some thought and we'll come back to it.
all right.
Okay, at this point, I would like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss a legal issue. We may make a decision coming out of that. Actually, I think we probably will make a decision coming out of that. Hopefully it won't be too long. Yeah, we'll go across the room.
Okay. I'll make a motion. We go into executive session.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We'll be back shortly. regular session?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion. Not sure if as the residents are aware, but there was a lawsuit that was pending. That was decided against the town of Unionville for a piece of property that town of Unionville lost. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion for the town to enter in a notice of appeal, not to appeal the case, it's put in a notice to preserve our rights to appeal. So Richard Cantor is the attorney that's handling it, so I'd like to make a motion to give Richard Cantor the ability to enter the notice to appeal.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
So that would be only reserve the right, not initiate any additional legal action.
Correct, and I
Other
think that,
than make it known that we want to reserve our right to appeal.
yeah, I think that it behooves us to have a discussion with Richard Cantor and to a discussion about what happened in this case, what could be potentially happen, and where we could go down the road.
All right,
Well, I feel there's nothing to be gained by the town moving forward with this. We've lost this case once, and I feel we're gonna lose it again, and I don't feel that we have anything to gain by doing this.
Well, I think the board previously has chosen to enter into that suit for good reason.
I didn't
And
say everybody.
4 out of 5 have chose to enter into that lawsuit. I think.
Look at
granted
the
it-
outcome.
Granted, it got dismissed, but I think it also behooves us to at least talk to our counsel before we make a decision whether we're gonna appeal it or not. We haven't even spoken to our counsel since the decision came out, so.
And I think
think-
having to add that an important part is we have 20 days and to enter this motion. So March 31st is the deadline, which is obviously Easter Sunday. So we have till March 29th technically to enter this. So we don't have a meeting before then to talk to the council about this. So we have to either enter the motion to appeal, not to perfect the case, but put in the motion that we're preserving the right to appeal.
We could also, right, I think we can also pull, if we all decide that we're not gonna appeal, we can send that notice in as well, even though we put it in
If
the
you
notice.
finally notice of appeal, you're reserving your rights or preserving your rights to appeal later on. Doesn't mean you have to, but you can always make a motion that you're not going to appeal later on, if that's what your decision is.
Right. We wanna expedite it for the landowner or whatever we wanna do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Roll call vote?
Councilman Carlin,
Yes.
Councilman Welsh.
yes.
Supervisor Frazier.
Nay.
Councilman McGivney,
Nay.
Councilman Derland.
Aye.
Any public comment on town issues? Okay, motion to pay the bills?
So
Hold on, before you adjourn. We should talk about the fire safe.
Oh, go ahead.
So, apparently, at the last meeting, I think the initial budget was maybe $1,200 for for a new fire safe. Then upon review, it was like $2,000, but upon further review, now the one that George actually needs is more like 4,000 and change.
That was the price that was given to me initially, and then they came back with the reduced
Yeah,
price.
I don't know.
So,
But
okay,
so we started with this one up here and now we're down in here and this is, it's the way that
it's still probably about
That's
$400 in shipping fee on it.
I'm sure. So George requested that we
Right.
allocate the money to get that because I think they're,
I think we had 1,800 in that line, or no, was it 1,200?
I
Well,
thought it was.
Yeah, because I added 1,000 to it
Correct,
to get
yes.
to the, so
22, and we probably need to be up to what, 40, what is,
and so
35, you said?
We were
Plus 4,
measuring
so
it
we're gonna be
today.
about 4,000, I think.
why don't we, well, the top line one, there's 4,100, excuse me, 4,200, 4,685 and 5,410. I don't think it's the one that's 5,410.
Correct. It's not the most expensive one because that simply does not fit in the room.
Why don't we put an upper
What-
limit of 6,000 on it then?
And then just,
yeah,
And we'll I'll move the money accordingly.
yeah, so that
Sounds
makes
good.
sense.
All right?
Yeah,
Motion to put an upper limit of $6,000 on the building department fire safe.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion?
no,
You want to do a roll call on that, please?
Councilman Cardelemi?
Yes.
Councilman Welch?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes,
Councilman McGivney? Councilman Derlin?
Aye.
okay. We had a motion to pay the bills. Get a second on that, please.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Our next meeting will be here 7:30 on April 3rd. And have a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.